I'm back! What's up, ninjas? Notseen Ninja here, back in Toronto. This is going to be part one of two. Where I tell you about my little travels. This one's going to be Vancouver based. And I apologize to anyone that lives in Vancouver because I'm going to tear your little city to shit right now. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Stanley Park, the mountains. It's on the beach by the ocean. Absolutely beautiful. Like the scenery's gorgeous, all that type of stuff. It's just nice. But here's what I didn't like. And I'll sum it up because, yeah. It's dirty. I found the streets dirty, trash everywhere. It's like stuff just wasn't clean for weeks before I came, that kind of thing. You don't get smiles from everyone. You always hear small town, Canada, all that stuff. Toronto's just very rude and everything. Vancouver's just as bad, if not a little bit worse. It just wasn't nice there. As far as what else? The food was subpar. The only good meal that I actually had there, and I spent some money, the only good meal I actually had there was at the Mackenzie Room, and it was to the point that I actually did a little interview with the chef. I still have to cut that up, but that's how good the food was there, with the beef heart tartare and all that type of stuff. It was just phenomenal. Everywhere else I went, I was not impressed. Nothing seemed fresh or great. Everything was just, whatever. Even though you were paying more than Toronto, it was still just, whatever. I grew up in Toronto. A lot of friends that did drugs and that type of stuff, ecstasy, whatever. I also live in Regent Park before they started tearing it down, so a lot of drug dealers, bad people, all that type of stuff. There's still some homeless shelters in the area. Until I went to Vancouver, I have never seen someone do intravenous drugs before, and now I have, because there was just homeless everywhere. Once you leave the main shopping block, one block over, it's just homeless people everywhere. There's throngs of like 20, 30 of them sitting on the sides of the streets. I actually saw people with needles still in their arms, vacant faces, mouth wide open, just eyes glazed over, just laying there, just the needle hanging out. Never have I seen that in my life, so that's kind of a fuck you, Vancouver. Was not impressed. The transit system, I couldn't even find it to use it. I did go online, saw the routes, all that type of stuff. It was not convenient. It doesn't actually bring you anywhere. Plus, because it's all buses, it gets stuck in the same traffic that everything else is in. And traffic coming into the city was not pretty. Actually, getting to the city was actually nice. From the airport's not close. Getting to the city was not bad. Once you hit the city, because there's no thoroughfares the way that we have the Gardner, the DUP, that kind of thing. They don't have that. It's just taking Yonge Street up, and everybody's doing it kind of thing. And it was just a nightmare, so I'm glad I didn't take cabs there. I didn't really leave the downtown core, I guess, unless I was walking, because it would just, like, I can't deal with that. I can't sit in the back of a taxi for that long. What else? It was just, I found it to be rather expensive, especially for what it was, for gifts, for food, for just everything. I mean, it's basically on par with Toronto, maybe a touch higher, some things a touch lower, but it's not, Vancouver's not the same level of Toronto, so the pricing definitely shouldn't be. Because I always take a look at rental places, it's actually more expensive than Toronto. Toronto, you're looking $1,200 for one bedroom, that kind of thing. In Vancouver, you're looking at about $1,500, $1,600 for one bedroom. It's not the city. The buildings look like they were built 30 years ago, and then someone forgot that they built them and just kind of let everything sit. Even the newer buildings that you could tell are newer because there's more glass and that kind of thing, they look like they have almost like a green moss over the tops of them. probably because it's by the ocean. I understand salt water is very destructive to everything, but it just looks like somebody gave up. The whole city looks like somebody just gave up. Between the food, the decor, everything, it looks like someone was building a city and then they're like, we don't need a city, or they ran out of money, or whatever the situation was. It was just very, for Vancouver to be a hot tourist destination, I don't understand it. I really don't understand that. I could have done without the 4 days in Vancouver. I only stayed for 4 days, and that was way more than enough. Granted, I didn't go up to Whistler. I didn't go up to all those types of places. Again, the scenic parts of Vancouver, absolutely beautiful. Everything else, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing? How do you call yourself a big city when there is no diversity? Not just in the people, because there is no diversity in the people. You got Chinese and you got white, and then a slight scattering of anybody else. There's nothing else there. There's no diversity, which also meant there's no diversity in the food. You could go to the one Indian restaurant, or there's tons of Chinese restaurants, but the one Jamaican restaurant, but you have to go to the other side of town, like all that type of stuff. There's no food diversity. There's no people diversity. It's just not a city. You guys are not a city yet. It looks like you're trying. It looks like you tried many years ago and just failed. And I don't understand how it's a hot tourist destination. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, as far as Vancouver goes, obviously, very beautiful. Would never travel there again. I turned a layover that was supposed to be a couple hours into 4 days, and I almost regret taking those days away from Tokyo. I just was not impressed. Sorry, Vancouver. You're no Toronto.